The number 42nd ranked squad just embarrassed one of the best teams in Counter-Strike history. Not only did BetBoom Esports pull off an upset that nobody saw coming, but they managed to rattle Vitality, the reigning world champions, by coming back from a gruesome 9-4 deficit. But how is this even possible? How could such a dominant force get exposed by a team formed just a few months ago? Well, it's quite simple. Rush A, Suka. With how hard it is to defend A against a multi-pronged attack, BetBoom abused this site over 90% of the game. They were constantly changing up ways they would try to end A by mixing in fakes, burst through ramp, and then palace, or by Zerks roaming mid and stampeding their way through connector. Vitality just couldn't find an answer. So in this video, we're breaking down the endless combinations of unique A execs that BetBoom launched to Vitality and how they beat the odds. Coming off a rocky CT side, BetBoom started the second half off on the wrong foot, especially for trying to make a comeback. They ran it down on A, it took the site without any resistance, but their post plant got eviscerated by Apex's nasty headshot and a super late flank from Zywoo. And while he was on his way, just look at Vitality's patience. His teammates are only jiggling and trying to hold the attention of BetBoom while he was going for the backstab. But all hope isn't lost. The attackers managed to plant the bomb, which gave their economy an extra boost that they desperately needed. If you manage to get the bomb down before the timer runs out, but it gets defused anyways, the offense gains an extra $800 on top of their loss bonus, meaning that they can force AKs, a couple pistols, and some utility. And yeah, while it doesn't seem like a lot, these hard-hitting rifles overpower the defense's M4s in a one-on-one duel, which works perfectly because the offense are grouped up while the defense are naturally spread out. But Vitality know this. They're forcing right back with full armor and M4s, knowing that this is the only chance BetBoom have if they want to make a comeback. Either win this round or forfeit the game. So the offense bursts out of spawn in a 1-4 formation. While Nafany lobs a smoke and molly to anchor the defense mid and deny information, Zort gets into position to set up this Hail Mary play.
All right. Well, Majors is down to 1 HP and then finished off. A much better entry this time from BetBoom.
BetBoom made every piece of utility count, and every movement in this hit was calculated. And now, the offense didn't have a lot of nades, so they did have to take some risks here. Usually, you'd use utility to scale out of ramp, but because they had the stronger rifles, they snuck out ready to force these long-range engagements. But also, notice the way that they're scaling. By hugging Sandwich, these two could force fights on site with their Palace teammate, who's lined up a molly for under Belk, even though it missed.
What are you doing?
Me? Just hanging around.
And now that's all been cleared, they double swung jungle with their Palace teammate as their con smoke bloomed and their flash over stairs popped. Basically a well-executed double swing. But like I said, every piece of utility in this hit had a purpose. If any of these tools were wasted, this round and then the match would have been over. So BetBoom's prayers were answered. The AKs have outmuscled the weaker rifles and have stormed the site. Now, if you're Vitality, what do? Go for exits? I mean, how much damage are you really going to do with an MP9? And do you really want to risk dropping an M4? I mean, that's pretty expensive, but it doesn't matter. BetBoom are out for blood and want to ensure that there's no survivors. Vitality's economy gets blown to bits, and here's where we see the start of something special. After BetBoom's high-risk, high-reward, but calculated force buy, Vitality are forced to double save, allowing BetBoom to roll through the next 2 rounds by splitting A through connector both times and getting closer to tying up this game. And despite 4-stacking A both rounds, Vitality haven't been able to stop the bleeding. But now, the defense are finally on their first full buy of the half and are shutting down mid, not wanting to get split again. Now, BetBoom, they decide to run another 3-2 split. I mean, it's been working, but this time, there's a small twist. The round starts quick with Chiron trading Nafany mid. Now, with the window player down, there's not going to be a rotate from jungle, making A ton weaker. But Vitality immediately deploys a site smoke, assuming that BetBoom are about to execute. This would be the perfect time to do so. Now, smokes like these can help your site player survive, buy time for rotates, and be a nightmare for attackers to clear. But this smoke in particular gives Magisk a safe zone to hold Palace from and would isolate the one person that's been swinging or trading trading from Palace in every hit so far. But BetBoom are changing their execute. No one's there this time. Magisk is wasting his time. And because the window player is down, Apex is forced to clear top mid quickly and is picked up connector because his teammates spot this smoke flying through the air. BetBoom are hitting this site again. But with all the attackers coming through one choke point this time, can they pull off another heist?
Siren's getting a lot of space already, and that's a nice spray transfer. See a little bit more of that. We'll start to get excited about Counter-Strike 2. Speaking of which, 3 on 2. Magisk is creeping around the side of the smoke. He has the knowledge that there's nothing happening on A.
Kyron just listening to the rotations in underpass here.
Telling that on as another unique hit. BetBoom scaled out of ramp, mollied Belk, and exploded by blowing away this anchor smoke and spraying down flames, but then immediately stopped. The offense took a second to stabilize themselves, and because of this sudden tempo change, BetBoom baited Apex to swing it to them. The offense has come out on top again on A site with a 2 versus 1 advantage, but now Kyron is calling them off. After trading Nafany, he pivoted back through apps and into underpass. Here, he heard ZywOo sprint off B site, rotating to the constantly abused A site. So he immediately tells his team to hit the subscribe button. Rotate back to B. BetBoom have been slamming A site this entire half. This has conditioned Vitality into over-rotating and giving up strong positions in order to support their teammates on site. Kyron took advantage of the gaps in Vitality's defense by slowing down and working his way up the now open mid. But now, ZywOo smells something fishy. A is quiet all of a sudden. Why? Maybe they've rotated. So with this trusty op in hand, he goes back alone to fend off B site against BetBoom, who don't want to show their hand too early. Kyron hears this movement and is on the flank. BetBoom knows ZywOo is B with an op, but they don't expect him to be in their face. ZywOo creeps up Van and stops the attackers. And after taking down Zort, he repositions to back site. The op is on the loose. But wait, Kyron has jumped into window from underpass, finally making it through market, and he executes ZywOo just in time. Now, with nothing but an M4, Magisk could go for the win, but his team still has the lead. A risk like this just isn't worth the damage it would do to his team's economy. But because the explosion radius from the bomb is much larger than it was in CSGO, he sneaks around the map into back apartments, killing Siren and Kyron as they're forced to run with their knives out to get away from the explosion. All the attackers died, but it doesn't matter. Their economy is boosted from dominating with all these A hits. After another save and another A exec where everyone went through connector, we're met with another pivotal buy round. BetBoom start the round with their default smoke for window, denying information from any window players, keeping the defense guessing on where exactly the offense are. But Vitality have 3 players heavily contesting mid. This window smoke in theory usually should buy enough time for BetBoom to set up for their exec, but ZywOo is peeking top mid from connector with the smoke at his feet to give him cover, and all he sees is nothing. And now because mid is quiet, Apex and ZywOo drop back towards A to brace themselves for another A hit. With 3 defenders here, including an op, BetBoom needs something special to successfully storm this site. Dennis and Kyron are in position to fight, and the rest of their team prepares to rain down smokes. But this isn't your run-of-the-mill A hit. BetBoom are building a wall of smokes, aware that ZywOo is opping. Against something like this, his op is garbage.
Let BetBoom cook. Let's see. That's another smoke from Kyron, by the way. This is like a 4-smoke exi.
Oh, front side smokes, actually. Oh,
This is sick.
okay. Apex jumps up on top of the firebox. Can't get more than 1 for that.
Oh, Kyron!
will miss a shot, and it is Kyron really just running and gunning.
Once the utility started to get thrown, Magisk assumed BetBoom would flash through the smoke. He turned to face the wall to play anti-flash, but at the same time, the attackers blew away the ramp smoke with a nade and immediately take down Magisk with his back turned. Then the wall of smokes allowed BetBoom to isolate gunfights on default and under Belk while ignoring any presence from CT and jungle. This special smoke hit allows them to all just run out and trade with some spectacular hip-to-hip spacing. Now, despite Magisk going down early, Apex and ZywOo were in great positions to fall back and set up for a strong retake with the team's utility, but they didn't. Apex jumped on Ninja and died, and then ZywOo ran through a smoke towards triple and instantly gets killed. That's not where an op should be playing. Just because one of your teammates goes down, that doesn't mean you need to run out like Superman. Has BetBoom managed to tilt Vitality? They were up 9-4, and maybe they felt like they had to make a hero play to prevent this game from slipping away. But Are BetBoom getting too confident now? Flames comes up connector and takes on Siren, exposed top stairs, while Chiron dies to Spinks in CT. BetBoom is overheating with excitement and getting punished for it. We're now in a tense 2 versus 2, but BetBoom don't stop fighting. Zort lobs a flash towards CT for Nafany to peek, but it missed. Nafany dies and leaves Zort all by himself to clean up this mess. Tucked into Tetris, he knows he has to isolate his ones before he gets traded out, so he swings early to take down Flames, and again to kill Spinks. Zort has managed to save this round. The world champs are struggling to stop these bombardment of different A hits, and something needs to stop them. Vitality had no other option but to sit there and watch BetBoom's lead grow as they had to half buy with 0 utility and then consequently save the next. And hey, would you look at that? BetBoom took advantage of the low buy to hit B. I love that. It's really hard to defend this site if you don't have utility. And it also shows Vitality that the offense aren't just hitting A every round and it keeps them guessing. Because look, on the following save, the defense did 3-stack B. This brings us to a do-or-die situation for the #1 team in the world. So they take a timeout to talk things over before they lose this game. Alright, so does anyone have any ideas on how we can stop them from going A?
What if we just let them have the site?
What do you mean by that?
Well, these guys are having a party over there and are getting super antsy. Maybe if we send in a late flank, we'll be able to unexpectedly pinch them from an extra choke point like we did on pistol round.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that works. Yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. Oh, cool. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
The underdogs have been dominating through A ramp this entire half, winning the 6 of the 7 rounds they've gone A. And to be honest, at this point, it's up to them to lose this game. But despite seeing a new style of A hit every round, we're going to see another. To start, BetBoom sends 3 people to creep up Palace, while the other 2 players play contact, top mid, and lurk underpass. With every A exec this game, BetBoom have always had players coming out of ramp, as pushing heavily through Palace exposes you to a lot of different angles, and you're defenseless as you jump down. So, a bold play like this would surely take the defense by surprise, especially out of a timeout. But Vitality aren't letting BetBoom decide their fate. The defense are bringing the fight to the offense. Once the buy phase ends, Spinks and ZywOo waste no time by darting into Rat Hole, and Spinks triple jumps into ladder. By doing this, he can put himself in a position to help fight mid early, in the case that window is smoked, which it has been. But this jump has paid off big time. He hears Spinks sprinting through underpass, and BetBoom have also missed their window smoke. You cannot get sloppy against a team like this. The botched smoke allows Spinks to jump onto fence to hold underpass, with Apex watching top mid from connector, so Spinks doesn't have to worry about anyone swinging while his back is turned. Unaware of the threat above, Siren walks right into Spinks' crosshair. BetBoom's lurk is down, and Vitality were not about to get burnt by the same play twice. But the offense are still filled to the brim with confidence. With Siren dying, BetBoom knows Vitality is playing heavy mid. This is the chance to make their move. Magiska's alone on site, holding from triple, and BetBoom round after round has been slamming through ramp, so he's expecting it again. But he's caught off guard, suddenly getting suplexed by 3 players flooding out of Palace. When the defense are heavy fighting middle, there should only be 1 defender on site, playing more safe from triple to anchor down and buy time for rotates, or playing from ticket to jump spot ramp as Palace is harder to hit through. Now that the anchor's down, BetBoom uses their nades to stall and set up in their post plant. Mollies for jungle and stairs, a flash and then a smoke for connector. Unaware of how much utility Vitality has for the retake, BetBoom spreads out, taking a lot of space, with Nafany tucked outside of jungle, ready to defend with Zort. If the offense just plays back, and Vitality do have a lot of nades, they'll just get smoked and locked out of the round. They have to play up. But Vitality are okay with that. Go ahead and take your time, BetBoom. Like we've seen previously, they're sending a player to go on a round-the-world flank. So while BetBoom have a lot of confidence and are ready to fight, are they going to forget what burned them in the beginning? Flames works up towards ticket with ZywOo posted on his swing. He gets close and begins to jump spot for info before the retake. During his jump, he spots Dennis holding CT from Apex. He makes the call, and ZywOo takes him down. What was he thinking? They know Vitality has an op, and there's no smokes to stop the long-range fight. Vitality have the player advantage.
Static in their positions, and that'll be a free beat for Nafany. Execute Apex, but I think he waited a bit too long. Zorte went down. It's Nafany to try to clutch out here for BetBoom. Defuse is on, and there's nothing he can do.
Being the only one towards jungle, Apex waited for Spinks to get closer to ramp and used himself as a human drone to scout out BetBoom's positioning and drag the attacker's attention to him, opening up an opportunity for his teammates to flush out the site. He ran past Nafany, who tried to trigger discipline in case there was another player to come out of the smoke, but all that did was get Zort killed. And while all that noise was going on, Spinks was able to eliminate Chiron, who was focused on all the commotion coming from jungle. Nafany then tried to run upstairs, but it was too late, Vitality reclaimed the site. Now, BetBoom only need one more round to close this game out and send Vitality to the losers. Their endless combinations of A hits are working, but they're not going to do so if they play sloppy like this again. So, BetBoom might have run into a mental boom. They tried to pull off a very similar strat as last round, and they got gunned down. BetBoom felt like their hit the previous round worked, and they just lost the post plant. Doing it again in theory should work, but their timing just wasn't right. This repeat play has put BetBoom on their last life. They need one more, or they're going to have to play to 16, and I don't know if they have enough A execs left to make it that far. Their final game plan is to quickly split A, but instead have heavier presence in mid instead of Palace with an extra guy through underpass, I think. I mean, we don't really know because their window smoke missed again. This blunder has forced the offense to slow down and Nafany to lob another into window on his way to connector, but then Magisk flashes.
They've had to refresh that pop flash into middle here. Aggression on the timing from Apex, applying pressure.
It takes down Nafany. The offense are scrambled and their game plan is ruined. Nafany being forced to re-smoke window disrupted his timing to fight Apex and connector. But now because BetBoom had been launching themselves out of Palace, Apex has turned around and isn't expecting a third in mid, but Chiron takes him down. With all the attention in mid, Danist waits for his teammates to get up mid to lurk on a ramp. He takes a fight with Magisk who's CT and is left at 1 HP. Zyru's Predator instincts kick in and he rushes the injured player to take another kill off the map. And now with the attention back at ramp, Chiron tries to make a timing into window, but Flames is too aware. The two remaining BetBoom members group up to try and perform a miracle on B, but that's just not happening, especially out of apartments, which is a disaster to come out of. That takes us to overtime, and it's time to test just how deep BetBoom's A playbook really is. Both teams traded rounds in the first part of overtime, and just look at the amount of utility that BetBoom saved. They know the Vitality have been heavy fighting mid, so odds are that there's only one anchor on A. Chiron literally swung across site and took down the con player, while Danist gets the ticket guy. All game, they've been slamming A in a multitude of different flavors, and this time it was with raw confidence, which, to be fair, is the very, if not most, important resource to have in Counter-Strike. I mean, without it, all your other prep might as well just go out the window. Also, just to update the count, BetBoom have been pounding A all but 2 of the last 13 rounds. So this time, they're going B. The attackers zoom out of the buy phase and through apartments. Spinks hears the stampede, so Flames combos a nade and molly to quiet them down. But BetBoom are fearless, and they extinguish the Flames with a smoke and keep holding W.
BApp's timing, it's a 1-4, similar to what Vitality did in regulation. They find the entry onto Flames.
Yeah, nice entry, but can they deal with Spinks? He's good for 2.
BetBoom recognized that they couldn't hesitate and keep pushing. This molly melted them, but that wasn't slowing him down. After all the bloodshed, we're left in a 3 versus 3, but Vitality are already here. Magisk holds Van, while Apex tries to be a hero by swinging out of market, trying to find a timing while the offense plants.
Apex has charged his way outdoor. They know that.
But he can't. Was this the right play? With Zyru on a flank through apps? I mean, all they had to do was wait and play together. It's worked every other time. Regardless, Zyru is finally here, and it's time to attempt a clutch.
Looking pretty good to take 2 into the second half of OT. Zywu has cracked 1 open, but now he is alone, and he'll have to do something special, which is not possible.
Before, BetBoom wouldn't touch B with a 39.5-foot pole, but now that they've hit here this round, this opens up the possibility that it could happen again, and this might leave A weaker. The game is tied. In this round, BetBoom plan to control mid in their 1-3-1 setup, while Vitality are aiming to go B. But why are we going B all of a sudden? There's so many different options to hit A site from. Why funnel through this narrow choke, then fly out of apps like a bunch of lemmings? You're exposed to a lot when jumping out of here versus just running up ramp. I mean, hey, maybe they know something that we don't. But before they're hit, they pressure mid with a standard utility sequence. Smokes, a molly, flash, and Apex goes to rejoin his team after hearing the op shooting in mid. But he's stomping. Chiron hears him. With Zort covering him from connector, he pushes and takes down Apex. Vitality postures for their B push, walking close apartments, waiting for the molly to extinguish. Magisk and Spink sit back and throw flashes over B, allowing Flames to flash close for himself and jump out with his knife, scouting this entire area for information while his buddies hold his market. Now, because mid was quiet, and he's all by himself, Siren fell back, ready to anchor down B. He counters with a side smoke, and Nafany is here to help. This smoke is similar to the one we've covered before, where it gives defenders extra pockets to hold sight from. These smokes are a pain for the offense to clear, wasting precious seconds that they need to secure sight. And despite Siren dying, this smoke has bought literally a pixel-perfect amount of time for Nafany to leap from market and land in said smoke. How much damage can Nafany do with this golden opportunity?
Taking that duel, Nafany's position completely unexpected, and he could double down, bomb dropped. Here we go, BetBoom up to 15.
Because of Nafany's fearless leap of faith into Siren smoke, he was able to catch Vitality off guard and buy his team time to pinch from catwalk. Confidence is a killer. Match point. Finally, BetBoom need one more round to end this slugfest. It wasn't pretty, but the underdogs have pushed Vitality to their limit and have another opportunity to close this one out. Last time, Vitality went B, they jumped straight into a meat grinder, so this time, they're sending 2 up mid to pinch through Cat, one of which being ZywOo, who's had enough. One of the best oppers in all of Counter-Strike is going to go full raid boss, sprinting up mid, op in hand. But BetBoom were ready to counter in their repeated 1-3-1 setup. These guys aren't afraid of anything. The offense lobs the smoke from spawn to window. ZywOo and Apex sprint past Top Cat, but Nafany blows it away with a nade, and Michael Jackson gets his trade from Connector. Before in CSGO, splitting B through mid was very strong, but you would approach it differently. Sometimes you would need to use 2 smokes at window because the enemy could deny the first with a Molotov. But in CS2, 1 smoke covers the whole window, but it can be displaced for a couple seconds with the snap of your fingers. Now you can also take mid to Cat with only 2 smokes, 1 for window and either Connector or Cat rail, but you need to be ready for these potential punishes. Now with no other map control, Vitality have no other option but to punch it up apps, right into BetBoom's open jaws.
Nade in, does catch a couple of those Vitality members, and Kyron executes Flames from behind. It is now Siren on the B side that has to make the difference, and he certainly will. It is done!
They did it. BetBoom and their plethora of A hits have taken down the #1 team in the world. That's just the meta now. A is much easier to hit than B, and you have a million different ways to do it. And speaking of new metas, you should check out this new ancient meta in this video here.